Commander Hyunwoo Kim was drinking his morning coffee when the alarm started screaming. He was on the bridge of the Earth Defense Station, watching the stars like he did every day for the past 5 years. Nothing ever happened out here. Earth was too small, too far from everything important. Then the sensors went crazy. "Sir, we have something big coming in fast," said Lieutenant Park at the sensor station. Her voice was shaking. "Really big, sir, bigger than anything in our database." Hyunwoo put down his coffee cup and looked at the main screen. What he saw made his blood freeze. A ship was coming toward Earth, but calling it a ship was like calling a mountain a rock. It was huge. The thing was 20 times bigger than their largest space station. "Get me Admiral Lee right now," Hyunwoo said. His hands were steady, but inside he was scared. In all his years in space, he had never seen anything like this. The massive ship stopped just outside Earth's orbit. It didn't attack. It didn't move. It just sat there like a giant metal moon, blocking out the stars behind it. Then it started talking. The voice came through every radio, every television, every communication device on Earth at the same time. It spoke in perfect English, then perfect Chinese, then perfect Korean, then every language humans had ever spoken. "Greetings, primitive species of the third planet. We are the Galactic Council. We have ruled the galaxy for 50,000 of your years. You will submit to our authority immediately." Admiral Dong-hyun Lee was in his office when the message came through. He was an old man, with gray hair and scars from the water wars 20 years ago. He had fought in 3 conflicts and thought he had seen everything. He was wrong. "Surrender all weapons," the voice continued. "Accept our government control. Prepare 10% of your population for relocation to our work worlds. You have 30 days to comply. This is not a request." The transmission ended with a demonstration. 3 of Earth's orbital defense platforms just stopped working. They didn't explode or break apart. They simply turned off, like someone had flipped a switch. The aliens had shut down Earth's most advanced weapons without even trying. Dr. So-Young Park was in her laboratory when she watched the recording of the alien ship. She was Earth's best expert on space technology, and she had studied every human spacecraft ever built. This thing followed no rules she knew. "The energy readings don't make sense," she told her assistant. "Their ship is generating power levels that should be impossible. And the way they disabled our platforms, it's like they rewrote the laws of physics." She ran the numbers again and again. Each time the answer was the same. Humans were children, playing with toys compared to these aliens. President Mi-jin Choi called an emergency meeting of the World Council. Leaders from every nation came to Seoul within 6 hours. The room was full of scared, angry voices. "We have to negotiate," said the European Union representative. "They have technology we can't fight." "Negotiate what?" asked the African Federation leader. "They want 10% of our people as slaves. That's 2 billion humans." "We don't have a choice," said another voice. "Did you see what they did to our platforms? They turned off our best weapons like light switches." Mi-jin listened to the arguments for 3 hours. She was a small woman, barely 5 feet tall, but she had led Korea through 2 economic crashes and a nuclear crisis. She knew how to make hard choices. Finally, she stood up. The room went quiet. "I want to know something," she said. "In all of human history, has any nation ever been made stronger by surrendering to bullies?" "This is different," said the American president. "These aren't humans. They're aliens with technology we can't understand." "So what?" Mi-jin asked. "They want our people as slaves. They want to control our world. They want us to give up everything that makes us human. And you want to say yes because they have big ships?" She walked to the window and looked up at the sky. The alien ship was visible even in daylight, a dark spot against the blue. "My grandfather fought the Japanese when they invaded Korea," she said quietly. "They had better weapons, too. Better training. More soldiers. Everyone said Korea should surrender. But my grandfather said something I never forgot." She turned back to face the room. "He said that some things are worth dying for, and freedom is one of them." The debate went on for 6 more hours. Some leaders wanted to fight, others wanted to surrender, a few wanted to run and hide. But in the end, they had to make a choice. Commander Hyunwoo was still on his ship when the president's decision came through. He read the message 3 times to make sure he understood it correctly. Earth's reply to the Galactic Council was ready. It would be broadcast on all frequencies in every language to make sure the aliens understood perfectly. The message was simple. One word. No. Hyunwoo felt proud and terrified at the same time. Humanity had just told the rulers of the galaxy to go to hell. It was either the bravest thing his species had ever done, or the stupidest. Maybe both. The alien ship received Earth's message at exactly noon, Earth time. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then the ship sent a reply. Your response is unexpected. We will send a demonstration fleet to correct your misunderstanding. Compliance is not optional. Dr. So-Young Park was monitoring the alien communications when she noticed something strange. There were long pauses in their transmissions, like they had to think about what to say. She had studied first contact protocols for years, and this didn't feel right. I think they're confused, she told Admiral Lee. In their message patterns, there are delays that suggest they've never had to deal with refusal before. What does that mean? Lee asked. I think it means we're the first species to ever tell them no, So-Young said. They don't know what to do with us. Admiral Lee smiled for the first time since the aliens arrived. Good, he said. Confused enemies make mistakes, and we're very good at taking advantage of mistakes. All across Earth, humans began preparing for war. Factories that made cars started making weapons. Scientists who studied medicine started studying alien technology. Children who played video games started training on military simulators. Commander Hyunwoo looked at his small fleet of 23 ships. They were mining vessels and research craft, hastily fitted with weapons that were primitive compared to alien technology. But they were human ships, built by humans, crewed by humans who had never learned how to surrender. The galaxy was about to learn something new about the small blue planet on the outer rim, Earth replied. The Galactic Council had ruled the galaxy for 50,000 years. In all that time, no species had ever said no to them. Not once. They didn't even have a word for rebellion in their ancient language. High Counselor Vexithara was 800 years old and had overseen the integration of 47 species into the Council. The process was always the same. Show up with a big fleet, demonstrate superior power, accept surrender, assign work quotas, move on to the next world. The humans must have misunderstood our message, Vexithara said to the Council. Primitive species often struggle with translation protocols. Perhaps their communication devices are defective, suggested another counselor. We should send a clarification fleet. They decided to send 50 ships to Earth's solar system. This was more firepower than most species had ever seen in one place. It was enough to destroy entire star systems. The plan was simple. Blow up Earth's moon. This demonstration always made primitive species surrender immediately. Captain Jin-Ho Nam was aboard the Earth flagship Soul's Pride when the alien fleet arrived. He was looking at 50 ships that could probably destroy his entire world, and all he had to fight them with was 23 modified mining ships and cargo haulers. Well, he said to his crew, at least we won't be bored today. Jin-Ho had fought in space before during the Belt Wars between Mars colonies, but those were human fights with human ships using human tactics. This was different. The aliens flew in perfect formations, like they were doing a parade instead of fighting a battle. Lieutenant Yoo-Jin Bae was the tactical officer on Soul's Pride. She had studied every human war in history, from ancient sword fights to space battles. She noticed something odd about the alien ships. Captain, she said, they're flying in geometric patterns, perfect triangles and squares. It's like they learned to fight from a mathematics textbook. What does that tell us? Jin-Ho asked. It tells us they've never fought anyone who shoots back, Yoo-Jin said. Look at their formations. They're beautiful, but they don't protect each other. If we hit the lead ship in each group, the others don't know what to do. The alien commander sent a message to the human fleet. Witness the power of the Galactic Council. Your moon will be destroyed as a demonstration. Surrender now, and your deaths will be quick. Jin-Ho opened a channel to reply. You talk too much. The battle began when the aliens fired their main weapon at Earth's moon. The beam was powerful enough to crack a planet in half, but the moon didn't explode. Instead, the beam hit a massive mirror that the humans had built in secret on the moon's far side. The alien weapon beam bounced off the mirror and hit their own lead ship. Engineer Taeho Kwan had spent 2 weeks building that mirror system. It was simple human engineering, just reflective metal and good angles. The aliens had never seen anything like it because they always fought enemies who tried to block their weapons, not redirect them. Direct hit on their flagship, reported Eugene. Their own weapon just took out their command ship. The alien fleet was confused. This had never happened before. Their formation broke apart as ship captains tried to figure out what went wrong. That's when the humans attacked. Earth's ships came from everywhere at once. They hid behind asteroids, inside the debris field from old space stations, even inside the wreckage of their own destroyed mining platforms. The aliens expected a head-on battle between two fleets. Instead, they got ambushed by enemies who appeared from nowhere. Taeho had made another discovery while studying the captured alien technology. Human electronics were old and simple compared to alien systems, but they were much harder to break. The aliens built delicate, perfect machines. Humans built tough, ugly machines that kept working even when they were damaged. Their ships stop working if you hit them wrong, Taeho reported during the battle. But our ships keep fighting even when they're half destroyed. This was true. The human ship Busan's Hammer lost its engines, its weapons, and half its hull, but it kept fighting by ramming alien ships. The crew used emergency thrusters to turn their broken ship into a guided missile. The alien commander had fought in 100 battles and won them all. But he had never fought humans before. Human tactics made no sense to him. They used broken ships as weapons. They hid behind debris. They worked together without perfect coordination. Why don't they follow proper battle protocols? He asked his staff. What are proper battle protocols? One of his officers replied. The commander realized this was a good question. The Galactic Council had won every battle for 50,000 years by having better technology. They had never learned to actually fight. Lieutenant Yu Jin noticed this weakness during the battle. Captain, they keep trying to reform their perfect formations. Even when we're shooting at them, they waste time getting back into pretty geometric patterns. Then let's make sure they never get the chance, Jinho said. The human fleet split into small groups and attacked from all directions at once. Every time the aliens tried to form up, another human ship appeared from a different angle. The aliens spent more time trying to organize than they did fighting. Commander Hun Woo was commanding the defense of the outer asteroid belt when he saw something that changed everything. An alien ship that had lost its weapons started to retreat, but it moved in a straight line back toward the main fleet. It didn't try to hide or use evasive maneuvers. They don't know how to run away, he realized. They've never had to retreat before. This was the key to winning. The aliens were like bullies who had never been punched back. They knew how to intimidate and threaten, but they didn't know how to fight a real war. The battle lasted 18 hours. When it was over, all 50 alien ships were destroyed or captured. The human fleet lost 7 ships, but the crews had ejected safely from most of them. Earth had won its first space battle against the rulers of the galaxy. The surviving alien crews were rescued by human ships. This surprised them more than losing the battle. In Galactic Council culture, defeated enemies were usually executed or enslaved. The humans gave them medical care and asked them questions about their homes. "Why do you help us?" asked one alien prisoner. "We came to destroy your world." "Because you're hurt," said the human medic, treating his wounds. "We don't let people suffer if we can help it." This confused the alien even more than human battle tactics. News of the victory spread across Earth in hours. People celebrated in the streets of every city. They had faced the masters of the galaxy and won. But the celebration didn't last long. President Mi Jin Choi addressed the world that night. "We won one battle, but this war is just beginning. The Galactic Council will send more ships, bigger ships. We need to be ready." Dr. So-Young Park was already working on that problem. She had been studying the wreckage from the alien ships, and what she found was both encouraging and terrifying. "Their technology is incredibly advanced," she reported to Admiral Lee, "but it's also incredibly standardized. Every ship uses the exact same systems, the same weapons, the same defenses. They haven't innovated in thousands of years." "What does that mean for us?" Lee asked. "It means they're predictable," So-Young said. "But it also means they have thousands of years of experience with those systems. We got lucky today because they underestimated us. They won't make that mistake twice. She was right. Deep in space, the Galactic Council was preparing their response to what they called the Earth problem. They were sending the pacification Armada, 500 ships commanded by their greatest military leader. Commander Jin Ho received the intelligence report about the incoming fleet and whistled softly. 500 ships, he said to Eugene. That's 10 times what we just fought. Then we'll have to get 10 times smarter, she replied. All across the solar system, humans were preparing for the next battle. They were building new ships, new weapons, new strategies. They were learning from their victory, but more importantly, they were learning from their enemies' mistakes. The Galactic Council thought they were sending a force large enough to crush any resistance. They were about to learn that humans didn't think like other species. When faced with impossible odds, humans didn't surrender. They got creative. The Galactic Council emergency meeting was the first one called in 3,000 years. 12 species sat around a massive crystal table, and for the first time in their long history, they were afraid. 50 ships, said Counselor Vexithara, her voice shaking. 50 of our finest vessels, destroyed by primitive mammals with crude technology. How is this possible? Asked the representative from the hegemony of Zeta Prime. We have ruled the galaxy since before their species learned to make fire. The humans fight differently, reported the only survivor from the demonstration fleet. They don't follow any rational pattern. They use debris as weapons. They sacrifice damaged ships to destroy healthy ones. They seem to enjoy being outnumbered. The council members looked at each other with confusion. In their thousands of years of conquest, they had never encountered a species that fought with such chaos and creativity. Send the Pacification Armada, ordered High Chancellor Mordun. 500 ships under General Crixvan. If the humans want to be irrational, we will show them the price of defying logic. On Earth, General Min Ho Song was turning the entire planet into a military base. Factories that made children's toys were now building missiles. Research labs that studied diseases were developing new weapons. Even schools had become training centers for space combat. We have maybe 6 months before they send the big fleet, Min Ho told his staff. We need to build 200 ships and train 50,000 people for space combat. Sir, said his aide, we don't have the resources for 200 ships. Then, we'll make them differently, Min Ho replied. Smaller, faster, cheaper. If we can't match their firepower, we'll overwhelm them with numbers and speed. Dr. Yoonji Han was working 18 hours a day in her laboratory, studying the alien technology they had captured. What she found changed everything humans thought they knew about physics. Their weapons work by manipulating something they call quantum field harmonics, she explained to a room full of Earth's best scientists. It's incredibly powerful, but also incredibly complex. Each shot requires massive calculations and perfect calibration. What does that mean in simple terms? Asked Dr. Park. It means their weapons are like precision surgical tools, Yoonji said. Perfect for what they're designed to do, but useless for anything else. Our weapons are like hammers, crude, but effective against many different targets. She had discovered something else important. The alien ships were all controlled by central computers that made every decision. Human ships relied on individual crews making quick choices in battle. They fight like a symphony orchestra, Yoonji continued. Beautiful and coordinated, but if you disrupt the conductor, the whole performance falls apart. We fight like a rock, band, messier, but each person can improvise when things go wrong. Colonel Kyung-Soo Yoon was developing new battle tactics based on this information. He had studied the recordings from the first battle and noticed patterns in how the aliens moved and fought. They always try to maintain perfect formation, he told his tactical team. Even under fire, they waste time getting back into geometric patterns. We can use that against them. His plan was radical. Instead of building a traditional fleet, Earth would create small groups of ships that could work independently. Each group would have different weapons and different jobs. When the aliens tried to form their perfect formations, the human groups would attack from all directions at once. It's like fighting a formal duel with a street brawl, Kyung-Soo explained. They expect rules and honor. We'll give them chaos and confusion. Commander Haewon Shin was in charge of defending the outer colonies on Mars and the asteroid belt. She was using a strategy that humans called scorched earth, destroy anything useful before the enemy could take it. If they want our resources, they'll have to fight for every grain of metal, she told her crews. We'll blow up our own mining stations before we let them use them. But HFY was also setting traps. The abandoned mining stations were rigged with explosives and hidden weapons. When alien ships came to investigate, they would find themselves in carefully prepared ambush zones. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council's pacification armada was moving toward Earth. General Krixvan commanded 500 of the most powerful warships in the galaxy. He had never lost a battle in his 300-year military career. The humans destroyed our demonstration fleet through trickery and luck, he told his officers. They caught us unprepared with primitive tactics. But now we know what to expect. This time, we will show them the true power of civilized warfare. Krixvan was planning a traditional battle. His ships would form perfect attack formations. They would destroy the human fleet with precise, coordinated strikes. Then they would demonstrate their superiority by destroying several human cities from orbit. After we show them the price of resistance, he said, the humans will surrender. They are not stupid, merely primitive. Once they understand that defiance is impossible, they will submit like all the others. He was wrong about humans not being stupid, but he was even more wrong about them surrendering. When the pacification armada arrived at the edge of Earth's solar system, they found something unexpected. Instead of cowering near their homeworld, the human fleet was spread throughout the system in small groups. Some ships were hiding in the asteroid belt. Others were near Jupiter's moons. A few were even hiding behind the sun. What kind of defensive formation is this? Krixvan asked his tactical officer. It's not defensive, sir, the officer replied. They seem to be everywhere at once. Captain Jinho Nam was now commanding a squadron of 12 ships near Saturn's rings. His orders were simple. Make the aliens angry and confused. Remember, he told his crews, we're not trying to win a fair fight. We're trying to make them so frustrated that they make mistakes. Lieutenant Yu Jin Bei had been promoted to Fleet Tactical Coordinator. She was watching the alien formations from Earth's command center and smiling. They're doing exactly what we expected, she reported. Perfect geometric formations, moving at calculated speeds, following textbook strategies. Good, replied Admiral Lee. Textbook strategies work against textbook enemies, but we didn't read their textbook. The battle began when the aliens detected the first human ship group near Mars. They sent a perfect triangular formation of 30 ships to destroy it, but when they arrived, they found only empty space and some debris. The human ships had moved, but the debris was a trap. Hidden inside the wreckage were missiles that activated when the alien ships got close. The explosion destroyed 5 alien vessels and damaged 10 more. Where did they go? Demanded Krixvan. The answer came when human ships attacked his main fleet from behind. They had used Jupiter's gravity to slingshot around the planet and approach from an unexpected angle. While the aliens were investigating the trap at Mars, the humans were hitting their supply ships. This was the new human strategy. Never fight where the enemy expected. Never use the same tactic twice. Always attack the thing they weren't protecting. Engineer Taiho Quan had built special modifications into all the human ships. Instead of trying to match alien technology, he had made human technology more human. The ships could be repaired quickly, with simple tools. They could operate even when badly damaged. Most importantly, they could be controlled manually when their computers failed. Alien ships are like expensive sports cars, Taiho explained. Fast and powerful, but they break down if you hit a pothole. Our ships are like pickup trucks. They're not pretty, but they keep working no matter what happens to them. This difference became crucial as the battle spread across the solar system. Alien ships that lost their central computers became helpless. Human ships that lost their computers just switched to manual control and kept fighting. General Krixvan was beginning to understand that he was fighting an enemy unlike any he had faced before. The humans didn't follow any logical pattern. They attacked weak points instead of engaging in honorable ship-to-ship combat. They used the environment as a weapon. They seemed to enjoy being unpredictable. Sir, reported his tactical officer, we've lost 67 ships, but we can't find their main fleet. What do you mean you can't find them? Krixvan demanded. They don't have a main fleet, sir. They have dozens of small groups scattered throughout the system. Every time we engage one group, another attacks us from a different direction. The battle raged for 3 days. The aliens had superior weapons and Better technology, but they were fighting a type of war they had never seen before. The humans were turning their own solar system into a weapon, using planets and moons and asteroid belts to create ambushes and traps. Commander Hyun Woo was leading a desperate attack on the alien flagship when he realized something important. The aliens were getting tired. Their perfect formations were becoming sloppy. Their response times were slowing down. "They're not used to fighting," he reported to Admiral Lee. "They've won every battle for thousands of years by having better weapons, but they've never had to fight a war that lasted more than a few hours." The humans, on the other hand, were just getting started. They had spent their entire history fighting. Long, difficult wars. 3 days of battle was nothing to them. When the Pacification Armada finally retreated, they had lost 312 ships. Earth had lost 67. The news spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. The Pacification Armada, undefeated for 3,000 years, had been destroyed by a primitive species from the Outer Rim. On 1,000 worlds, beings who had served the Galactic Council, in fear, began to whisper questions they had never dared ask before. Could the Council be defeated? High Chancellor Morden stood before the emergency assembly, his crystalline form flickering with stress patterns. Around him, representatives from 12 species argued in languages that had not known the word for defeat until today. "The humans are an anomaly," Morden declared. "One species cannot threaten an empire that has ruled for 50 millennia. One species just destroyed our finest fleet," countered Councillor Vexathara. "Perhaps it is time to consider negotiations." Negotiations? The word exploded from the hegemony representative. "We do not negotiate with primitives. We have the planet killer. One ship, one shot, no more human problem." The planet killer was the Council's ultimate weapon, a moon-sized construct that could shatter worlds. It had been used only 3 times in galactic history, always to end rebellions that threatened Council authority. But other Council members were not so sure. The defeat of the Pacification Armada had revealed something disturbing. Many of the Council's client species had not sent reinforcements when requested. Some had even ignored Council orders entirely. Admiral Sang-Wook Jang was having the best month of his career. As commander of Earth's first offensive operations, he was taking the war to the enemy for the first time in human history. "We're not just defending anymore," he told his fleet commanders during a briefing in the asteroid belt. "We're hunting." Human ships had appeared throughout Council space like ghosts. They struck supply convoys, destroyed communication relays, and vanished before reinforcements arrived. The Council had never faced guerrilla warfare on an interstellar scale. "Remember," Sang-Wook continued, "we're not trying to conquer their worlds. We're trying to show their client species that the Council can be hurt. Every successful raid proves that the Great Council is not invincible." Intelligence Officer Yuri Kim had established Earth's first spy network within Council territory. What she discovered changed everything humans thought about their enemy. "The Galactic Council isn't really an empire," she reported to Earth Command. "It's more like a protection racket. Most species serve them because they're afraid, not because they're loyal." Her agents had made contact with dozens of oppressed species. Many had tried to rebel against the Council over the centuries, but they had always fought alone. They had never coordinated their resistance. They suppressed technological development among client species, Yuri continued. "Any world that shows too much innovation gets a visit from Council inspectors. If the innovations are deemed dangerous to galactic stability, the species is eliminated." This was how the Council maintained power. They didn't just conquer other species. They kept them weak and dependent. Commander Ji-hoon Park was intercepting Council communications from his stealth ship hidden in the Vega system. What he learned made him realize that Earth had stumbled into something much bigger than a simple war. "The Council species are panicking," he reported to Admiral Jang. "They're getting reports of unrest on dozens of client worlds. Some species are refusing to send tribute ships. Others are asking questions about Council authority." The humans had done more than win military victories. They had shown the galaxy that the Council could bleed. Dr. Won-Young Choi was leading the team studying captured Council technology. Her discoveries were revolutionizing human understanding of advanced physics. "Their technology is incredibly sophisticated," she explained to a gathering of Earth's top scientists. "But it's also incredibly stagnant. These weapon designs are Thousands of years old. They haven't improved them because they haven't needed to. She had found something else in the Council databases, records of previous rebellions. Over the millennia, dozens of species had tried to resist Council rule. All had failed, but their stories revealed important weaknesses. The Council always responds to rebellion the same way, one young continued. Massive force, complete destruction. Then they make an example of the rebels to terrify other species. It's worked for 50,000 years because no one has ever survived their maximum effort. What happens if someone does survive? Asked Dr. Park. Then the whole system falls apart, one young replied. Their power is based on the belief that resistance is impossible. If that belief breaks, so does their empire. Captain Si-Jin Lee was commanding Earth's deepest space raid yet, a strike on a Council core world that had never been attacked in its entire history. Her mission was not to conquer the planet, but to prove that humans could reach anywhere in the galaxy. We're not here to destroy their cities, she told her crew as they approached the heavily defended world. We're here to knock on their front door and let them know we can visit anytime we want. The raid lasted only 6 hours, but its psychological impact was devastating. If humans could strike at the heart of Council space, then nowhere was truly safe. The attack sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy, but the Council was preparing their final solution. The planet killer was moving toward Earth, escorted by every remaining ship in the Council fleet. Over 1,000 vessels accompanied the ultimate weapon. This ends now, declared High Chancellor Morden in his final broadcast to the human homeworld. You have shown that primitive cunning can defeat advanced technology, but you cannot defeat physics itself. The planet killer will reduce your world to cosmic dust. Your species will serve as an example for the next 50,000 years. President Su-Jin Lim had replaced Mi-Jin Choi after the previous leader died in a Council bombing raid. She read the ultimatum calmly, then asked her aide to prepare a response. What should we tell them, Madam President? The aide asked. Tell them we got their message, Su-Jin replied. Tell them we're not impressed. But privately, she was worried. Earth's entire fleet numbered only 400 ships. The Council was bringing 1,000, plus a weapon that could destroy planets. Even human ingenuity had limits. Fleet Admiral Boram Kang was planning humanity's response to the ultimate threat. In her headquarters buried deep beneath Seoul, she studied tactical displays showing the approaching Council armada. We can't fight that fleet in open space, she told her staff, and we certainly can't stop the planet killer with conventional weapons. What do you suggest, Admiral? Asked her chief of staff. We don't fight the fleet, Boram said with a smile. We fight the war. Her plan was audacious even by human standards. While the Council was bringing their ultimate weapon to destroy Earth, humans would be carrying a different kind of weapon to the rest of the galaxy. Information. Revolutionary Coordinator Jae Sung-oh had spent months building communication networks throughout Council space. Hidden transmitters, secret agents, and sympathetic aliens had created a web of connections spanning thousands of worlds. We've been talking to oppressed species for months, he reported to Admiral Kang. They're ready to move. They're just waiting for the signal. The signal would be Earth's final message to the galaxy. Not a surrender, not a threat, but something the Council had never encountered in 50,000 years of rule. An invitation. As the Council fleet approached Earth's solar system, carrying death and destruction, humanity prepared to broadcast a simple message to every world in the galaxy. The message would be transmitted simultaneously in 1,000 languages to 1 billion worlds. People of the galaxy, the message would begin. You have lived in fear for 50,000 years. You have been told that resistance is impossible, that the Council's power cannot be challenged. Today we prove that is a lie. The broadcast would include tactical information about Council weaknesses, technical specifications for building weapons, and most importantly, proof that the Great Galactic Council could be defeated. But first, they had to survive what was coming. The planet killer was 3 days away from Earth when the final preparations were complete. Every human ship was in position. Every weapon was ready. Every person on Earth knew that the next few days would determine whether their species would live free or die fighting. Admiral Boram Kang stood on the bridge of her flagship, looking at the tactical display showing the approaching Council armada. 1,000 enemy ships and a weapon that could destroy worlds against 400 human vessels and an unproven plan. Admiral, her communications officer reported, we're receiving surrender demands from the Council fleet. Any reply? Bo-Ram asked. Yes, ma'am. The President says to tell them, come and take it. Bo-Ram smiled. Even facing impossible odds, humans refused to surrender. It was either their greatest strength or their greatest weakness. She suspected they were about to find out which. The planet killer emerged from hyperspace like a mechanical moon, its surface covered with weapons that could shatter worlds. Behind it came the largest fleet in galactic history, 1,000 council ships carrying the combined military might of 12 species. High Chancellor Morden stood in the command center of the massive construct, watching Earth grow larger on his screens. The small blue planet looked peaceful and helpless, completely unaware of the destruction approaching it. This is your final opportunity, he broadcast to the human homeworld. Surrender now, and we will grant you a quick death. Continue your resistance, and we will make your suffering legendary across the galaxy. President Sujin Lim received the message in her bunker beneath Seoul. Around her, the leaders of Earth's government waited for her response. The weight of humanity's future rested on her shoulders. Open a channel to the Council fleet, she ordered. When the connection was established, her words were calm and clear. High Chancellor Morden, thank you for bringing your entire fleet to our neighborhood. You've saved us a lot of travel time. The Council commander was confused by this response. In 50,000 years of conquest, no species had ever thanked him for bringing instruments of destruction. Explain your meaning, primitive, he demanded. You'll understand soon enough, Sujin replied. Earth has a message for the galaxy. We've been waiting for the right moment to deliver it. You just gave us that moment. As the Council fleet approached, Earth's orbital defenses, Revolutionary Coordinator Jae-Sung-Oh, was making final preparations for the largest communication broadcast in galactic history. Hidden transmitters throughout Council space were ready to relay Earth's message to every inhabited world simultaneously. All stations report ready, he told Admiral Bo-Ram Kang. We can reach approximately 4 billion intelligent beings across the galaxy. And the content? Bo-Ram asked. Everything we've learned about the Council. Their weaknesses, their lies, their methods of control, plus tactical data on how to defeat their technology, and most importantly, proof that they can be beaten. The message would do more than inform. It would inspire. For the first time in 50 millennia, oppressed species would hear that freedom was possible. Fleet Admiral Bo-Ram Kang watched the Council armada approaching and smiled grimly. The enemy had made a crucial mistake by bringing their entire force to one location. They thought they were demonstrating overwhelming power. Instead, they had given humanity the perfect target. All ships, begin Phase 1, she ordered. The human fleet didn't attack the massive Council formation. Instead, they did something the aliens had never seen before. They ran away. Every human ship in the solar system began retreating toward the edge of space. The primitives flee in terror, reported the Council tactical officer. Shall we pursue and destroy them? No, ordered Morden. Let them run. We want the galaxy to see that even these stubborn humans eventually surrender to superior force. He was wrong. The humans weren't retreating. They were getting out of the way. Captain Changmin Ryu was commanding the rearguard action, keeping his ships between the fleeing civilian population and the Council fleet. His job was to make the withdrawal look like a panicked retreat while actually executing one of the most complex military maneuvers in human history. Make it look good, he told his squadrons. Fire a few shots, then run like hell. We need them to think we're beaten. The deception worked perfectly. The Council fleet moved into Earth orbit unopposed, their planet-killer weapon aimed directly at the defenseless world below. That's when the real battle began. The signal came from Earth itself. A simple radio transmission that reached every corner of the galaxy simultaneously. For the first time in 50,000 years, every intelligent being in Council space heard the same message at the same moment. People of the galaxy, you are not alone. The Council's power is a lie. Freedom is possible. Today, we prove it. The Broadcast included detailed information about every Council defeat, complete tactical analyses of their weaknesses, and most importantly, the communication frequencies for the Free Species Alliance, a new organization dedicated to galactic liberation. On 1,000 worlds, beings who had lived their entire lives in fear suddenly learned that others shared their dream of freedom. The message spread faster than Council authorities could suppress it. But the real shock came when ships began appearing throughout the solar system. They weren't human ships. They were vessels from dozens of different species, former Council clients who had been secretly preparing for this moment. The oppressed peoples of the galaxy had finally found their voice, and they were using it to say, "No more." Admiral Sangwook Jang commanded the first mixed-species fleet in galactic history. Ships from the Centauri Collective flew alongside vessels from the Vegan Republic. Former Council slaves fought beside their liberators. "How many ships do we have?" he asked his tactical officer. "Still counting, sir. At least 2,000 and more arriving every minute. It looks like half the galaxy just declared independence." High Chancellor Morden watched in horror as his perfect formation was surrounded by ships from species that were supposed to be loyal Council servants. The rebellion he had tried to prevent was happening all around him. "This is impossible," he muttered. "They were conquered, subjugated. They accepted our rule. They accepted it because they had no choice," said a new voice on the communication channel. "Today, they have a choice." Fleet Admiral Boram Kang's flagship emerged from behind Earth's moon, leading the reformed human fleet. But she wasn't alone. The retreating human ships had been gathering the rebellion's scattered forces, creating the largest free fleet in galactic history. The Council's 1,000 ships suddenly found themselves outnumbered 10-1 by angry former subjects who had learned to fight from watching humans. "Surrender your weapons and prepare to be boarded," Boram broadcast to the Council fleet. "Your empire is finished." The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. It wasn't just humans fighting aliens. It was freedom, fighting tyranny on an interstellar scale. Species that had been enemies for millennia fought side by side against their common oppressor. Captain Si-Jin Lee led the assault on the planet killer itself. Her mixed squadron of human and alien ships swarmed over the massive weapon like angry insects, striking at critical systems that the rebels had identified through human intelligence gathering. "Remember," she told her pilots, "we're not just destroying a weapon. We're destroying the symbol of Council power. Every being in the galaxy is watching." The planet killer was designed to destroy worlds, but it had never been built to defend itself against multiple small attackers. Its massive weapons couldn't target the tiny ships crawling across its hull. Within hours, the ultimate weapon of galactic oppression was burning wreckage. High Chancellor Morden made one final broadcast to his crumbling empire. "You cannot defeat us. We have ruled for 50,000 years. We are eternal." "Nothing is eternal," replied President Su-Jin. "Limb from Earth. Everything ends. Your time is over." The Council fleet's surrender came in stages. First the outer formations, then the core battle groups, finally the command ships themselves. By the end of the day, not a single Council vessel remained in hostile hands. But the real victory was happening throughout the galaxy. On world after world, Council governors were being arrested by their former subjects. Supply lines were being cut. Administrative centers were being occupied by popular uprisings. The 50,000-year empire was collapsing in a matter of hours. Ambassador In-Soo Kim stood at the podium of what had once been the Planet Killer's command center. The massive weapon had been converted into a space station where representatives from free species could meet and plan their shared future. Around him sat delegates from hundreds of worlds that had just declared their independence from Council rule. Former enemies worked together to build something the galaxy had never seen, a voluntary alliance based on cooperation rather than fear. The Galactic Council thought they dominated everything. In-Soo began his speech to the first session of the Free Species Alliance. They believed their power was absolute, their rule eternal, their authority unquestionable. He paused and looked out at the assembled beings, humans, aliens, former Council clients, and even some reformed Council species who had chosen freedom over tyranny. Today, the universe replied, "We are free." The cheers that followed could be heard across subspace. carried to every world in the galaxy by the communication networks that humans had built to spread their message of liberation. 5 years later, Earth had become the unofficial capital of the Free Species Alliance. The former Council worlds had joined willingly, contributing their knowledge and resources to the common good. Trade flourished between species that had been kept apart by Council law. Scientific advancement accelerated as different civilizations shared their discoveries. The galaxy had entered a golden age of cooperation and progress. Dr. Won-Young Choi was giving a lecture at the Alliance Academy on Luna about the fall of the Galactic Council. Her students were young beings from dozens of different species, all learning together in harmony. The Council made one crucial mistake, she told them. They assumed that because they had always won, they would always win.